Hello everyone, and welcome to the Vmware VCP7 course. This course is being taught by my boss and very talented IT instructor Syed Amir Shahzad. You will get to learn it with clear concepts-based lectures, colorful diagrams, fun and jokes, and best of all, step by step, hands-on, labs. Let's tune in to Amir's Vmware course.
So what we were doing was we had created the SAN, software SAN. So we created the 3 disks on. So this machine was supposed to be software SAN. We created 3 disks last time, and then we shared each disk to each of the machine. Now the hypervisors are 3 and the disks are 3. This is just a coincidence, has nothing to do with oh, it has to be 3. No, disks could be 10, machines could be 200. 3 is just a coincidence. Okay, so there's another comment in the chat. Please go ahead. Okay, so we were talking about this software SAN, right? So each disk is shared to each machine, right? So suppose there were 200 hypervisors here, 200 hosts. Hosts are also called hypervisors. If there were 200 or 2000 hypervisors, um, it would still be that each disk or LAN. So obviously we should be calling logical unit number or the terminology, because in the interview you need to call it as a terminology words. So yeah, each LAN or shared disk over the network is connected to each hypervisor, or whatever hypervisor needs to take part in FT, fault tolerance, which is active passive machine on one VM on one hypervisor and other VM on other hypervisor. That is fault tolerance. We're going to be doing a lab later on this. Or vMotion. Very soon we're going to be doing the lab on this migration and many other advanced features that you want to use. If you want to use that, you have to share the disk or LAN logical unit number to all those hypervisors that's going to take part in advanced features like FT and vMotion and many other features as well. There's a hand raised here. Yeah, Daniel.
Hello.
Hello, yeah.
Yes, I'm still not able to access my ESXi02.
You cannot access? Oh, okay. We're going towards.
It's not powering on.
Oh, at all? So guys, make sure that everyone's machine is powering on. I'll check that. Let me just explain this, and then I'm going to the machines as well.
Okay.
And okay, so as we were talking about that, each one was attached to each hypervisor. That's one thing. It's very beneficial because you can use all the advanced features, vMotion, and we're going to be doing those labs, so you will know that. So once we do that, we are good to go for our next major lab, which is to deploy the vCenter, which is the central, which is the application that does centrally what? That centrally manages the whole VMware environment, that centrally manages, suppose there are, in a big environment, suppose there are 30,000 virtual machines. So from one central application called vCenter, you can manage all 30,000 or 40,000 virtual machines, all hosts or hypervisors. We have 3 hosts or 3 hypervisors. If there were 300 hypervisors, you can centrally manage from the vCenter application. It's actually going to be an appliance. You can do inventory from there, from this application. You can do security. You can take care of security through this application of the whole VMware environment. You can storage of all the hypervisors and virtual machines, right? So there's storage, physical storage on physical servers where hypervisor is installed, and then there are going to be virtual machines. Suppose this is one VM. So suppose each hypervisor has maybe 15, 20 virtual machines, and each virtual machine, suppose this virtual machine has 300 users connected, this virtual machine has 1,000 users connected, this virtual machine has 3,000 users connected. So that's pretty heavy traffic in a big company, right? So storage, virtual storage. So virtual storage would be the storage of the virtual machine. So virtual machine will have virtual disk, physical server, hypervisor, host will have physical disk, and then there is storage coming from software SAN as well, or actual SAN in a real environment or production environment. There will be SAN. So the whole aspect, all aspects of storage, you can centrally manage from this application called vCenter, and networking of the whole environment, which is the virtual standard switch that are installed as we discussed before. When you install a hypervisor, ESXi hypervisor, so a virtual standard switch gets installed in all the hypervisors. And so there's virtual standard switch, there will be a distribute switch, and then there are physical switches in the environment. Obviously, physical switches, maybe they're Cisco or Juniper or any other. So they will be handled by Cisco dashboard, Cisco applications, but whatever is virtual and is net related to network will be handled by centrally. If you want to handle, you can handle that also with vCenter. So this application is very, very important, right? Very important, critical, mucho, mucho importante, and yeah, whatever. Okay, so yeah, it's very important. So that's why we're going to be installing this application appliance. So this is also called VCSA, which is vCenter Server Appliance. So this is vCenter Server Appliance. Okay, so we also call it, hey, did you deploy VCSA? Which means that did you deploy application called vCenter, which is pre-installed in a virtual machine. So it's a vCenter server appliance. What is appliance? Appliance is an application that is installed inside a virtual machine. So this is a VM virtual machine with a pre-installed OS. So an application, pre-installed application on a pre-installed OS inside a virtual machine. If that's the case, then it is called appliance in virtualization, right? And so obviously, when you deploy a virtual machine that has a pre-installed OS and application, you just need to connect to it and customize it to company needs, whatever the company wants to, however the company wants to customize it according to their own needs, you can customize that, but you don't have to really deploy separately and first deploy a VM, then install an OS, then install an application on top of the OS, then configure it. So you just deploy over the network, and that's what we're going to do over the network. So from the Windows machine, we're going to attach to the CD/DVD of this virtual machine. We're going to attach the ISO of the VCSA ISO, right? So ISO is the image, installation image of this appliance called vCenter Server Appliance, or VCSA, right? So this ISO we're gonna map to the CD/DVD of the Windows machine. Then we're gonna go inside the DVD-ROM, and we're going to execute the exe file, and then we're gonna deploy it over the network to this hypervisor, which is hypervisor ES6501 as a VM. So we will deploy it as a virtual machine, but this virtual machine will have this vCenter pre-installed inside on top of the proprietary operating system of VMware called Photon. Photon is the OS of VMware, which is part Linux code and part VMware developers code. So VMware came up with this. Older versions of VMware were SUSE Linux. They were using the underlying operating system as SUSE Linux Enterprise version. But then they, from 6.7 version, they stopped, actually 6.5 version, they stopped using Linux operating system inside the virtual machines, and they came up with their own Photon operating system, which is still obviously half Linux and half their own code, VMware. So, but they own it. Photon is OS for VMware virtual machines. So that's what we need to do. That's what we were talking about, that we're going to be deploying a vCenter application that if you will only deploy vCenter if it's a big environment. In a small environment of 2 3 hypervisor, 5 6 hypervisor, you don't really need a vCenter. Medium to large size organizations you will need, because in order to connect to each host, suppose you want to do some changes in 200 hypervisors. So if vCenter is deployed, you will have much more flexibility and ease with which you can deploy the vCenter. And if you have just few hypervisors, you can directly connect. So as a company, maybe the company does not have budget, right? So you can connect to this hypervisor and configure everything inside, then this hypervisor separately, and then this manually, as we connected to these hypervisors in previous classes. So if it's small environment, you don't need it. For large environments, obviously you need it. And you will find I am, nearly daily posting many jobs there, and hopefully some of you are going through those jobs and checking those in my WhatsApp group, which I shared before. So many of those jobs are have VMware mentioned there, with Azure, with AWS, right? So do check that, what in VMware, what kind of skills in VMware they want you to know. But VMware is pretty much there in majority of the jobs, it openings in large companies, right? Medium to large size companies. Okay. Anyway, so what we are trying to, I'm trying to say here is, let's prepare our environment for the deployment of vCenter. And so in order to do that, first we have to go to we need to check all 4 virtual machines are running, although we're going to be working mainly on Windows machine and E691 machine only. We're not going to be working on the other 2 machines. Once the vCenter is deployed fully, hopefully there's no error. Sometimes there is error, and sometimes the error is so stubborn. Sometimes few of us get an error, and sometimes all of us get an error. I mean, then I have a backup where I have like my own physical machine with 32 GB RAM and i7 quad core, and I will still keep on showing you how to configure all the rest of the technologies by step by step explaining everything. But that's just a backup. Let's try to make this happen and make it a success. Hopefully VMware environment, vCloud environment cooperates with us. So yeah, we're going to be deploying vCenter. That's the objective today. Second thing, yeah, it's benefits, it's working, we talked about. And we're going to be launching the virtual machine from the Windows virtual machine. We're going to launch this VCSA over the network to our ESXi hypervisor. So first thing, let's check if we can connect to all 4 hypervisors. And then second thing, then we're going to go step by step with all the other things. I'll just put down some notes here for major steps only. 9 next. Oh, guys. Okay. We need to add. We didn't add that, and later we will need that. So why don't we do that before we install? So, so guys, we need to install 9 network. Let me just go back to the diagram. We need to install. So there is one network card here, right? This network card, right? So we need to install 9 more NICs. Why? Because and network interface cards. So I need to show you how to deploy with vendor best practices the advanced features like fault tolerance, advanced features like vMotion. So not only that, but what's the logic of having more network cards in a hypervisor, right? And especially 9 is just a random number. We could have 8, we could have 10, we could have even more or less. So the main idea behind is, so it stems from that. Suppose you have here 10 virtual machines, right? Suppose, or 3 virtual machines, and this machine 3,000 users are connecting. right? This machine, there are suppose 1500 users are connecting, and this machine there are 700 users are connecting, suppose, right? File server, web server, and another file server or some other server, database server, print server, server, right? Okay, but there are so many users connecting, and those users, they are saving file, they are receiving files, maybe they are sharing files. So there's one network card that is already there. Professionally, in real environment, you will always have like 2, 4, or 8 or 10 network cards in a physical server, on top of which you have hypervisor. So suppose you have one network card, right? Now there are so many users during the peak time, during the office time, they are connecting, they are saving files. So all that traffic is going through this one poor network card. So it is possible that this is going to overwhelm the bandwidth, and network card may not be able to send outbound and inbound traffic, and it might freeze, it might crash because of overwhelming traffic. So you would have two network cards, suppose. So at least the traffic would be um, distributed among the two. We can achieve LCBO, no, not LCBO, LBFO, right? So that's load balancing and failover. We can achieve that for these network cards. So they will balance the load, right? And they can fail over as well. So if this network card goes down, the traffic goes to switches to this other network card. But why 9 more? So I want total 10 network cards on this hypervisor and this hypervisor, right? Why? Because we're going to be adding two network cards just for the regular traffic, virtual machine traffic. Then when we are ready to configure the advanced feature like fault tolerance, or when we are ready to configure an advanced feature like vMotion, so they will also generate their own traffic, right? What is fault tolerance? One virtual machine here, one virtual machine here, right? This is active, this is standby. Now, whatever is happening in active machine, maybe there are 2,000 users connected here, and they are saving file and doing all the operations. So whatever is going on is being replicated to the standby virtual machine per second, same time, nearly same time. It's so updating whatever is happening here in active machine is being updated in and copied in standby or passive machine, right? So this means it will generate its own traffic. vMotion, it will migrate from one machine to another, so it will generate its own traffic. So already we have like 5,000-6,000 users traffic being handled by these two poor guys, this network card and this network card, right? So if we add this feature and then this feature, so their additional network traffic will be also going through these two poor guys, the two network cards, right? So now when we install FT, if we have extra network cards, we can just, if we already have network cards, right? So we can tell FT, hey, FT, your traffic will go through your two dedicated network cards. And if we have like 6 network cards, so we can say when we are adding vMotion, hey, your traffic will be going through your own two dedicated network cards. This is also called nick teaming. Always remember that. And yeah, explain that in the interview as well. Nick teaming, you can team up the network cards, and then they will do LBFO, load balancing failover, right? So if you are dedicating network cards for each advanced feature, high availability disaster recovery feature, so obviously their traffic will not be going through these two network cards, which are already taking so much traffic, right? So their traffic will be going through their own dedicated network cards. So that's why we need more network cards. So I could show you how to add separate network cards when we are configuring advanced features. Hopefully you understand that. So we need to do this. Do what? We need to add 9 more network cards. So we need to shut down this machine and this machine, 2 and 3. And you don't need to log in for that. It's an outside task. So we can do that. Then troubleshoot for you what you're seeing the issue in your machines. But first of all, everyone shut down E6i2, E6i3, add 9 more network cards, making it a total of 10 network cards on E6i2, and total of 10 network cards on E6i3. So I'm going to be doing that. You can follow me, uh, but we don't have to log in, so don't worry about that. I'll troubleshoot that after this. But let's just add 9 more network cards to just E6i2 and E6i3 only. Right? Okay, I'll drag. All right. So I am logging in, and major lab number 1. So we did all that, and we're doing this. Then we are doing this, right? So let's finish this task first. Logged in, and um, so ESX said, oh, my machines are suspended already, right? Now, in a suspended machine, will it let me add a network card or not? If not, then I have to start the machine and properly shut down and then do that. So my machines are suspended. If your machines are started, shut down only E6i2 and E6i3, these two only, and then do what I'm doing, how to add 9 more network cards. So first I'm going to check E6i2 if I can add a 9 more network cards to this if it is suspended, right? So it says suspended here. So I'm going to go to details, right? And next. So everyone, please shut down E6i2, E6i3, hypervisors only. And once you're there, you need to go to details in E6i2 first. And where I am, you can be there. Next, and I'm going to edit. Once I click edit, it will let me add 9 more network cards, and then I'll press OK and save, and let's see if it works, right? So I'm in edit, next, edit. So this screen comes, right? First, I'm going to add just 1 network card and click save just to check if it lets me save. Otherwise, if I add 9 and then save, it's going to take time already. And then if it doesn't save, so let me just add 1 network card and click save to check if it works. So I'm going to click new, right? I have to have the exact same configure and shun. That's it, right? So it looks like just like the below one, and I'm going to save it just to check if it works and it doesn't give me an error. Wow. Anyone successful with suspended machine? If you're shut down, yeah, you should be successful. But it is taking a lot of time. So try not to stare at this circle. You will be hypnotized. So just look away, right? Hello. I think I should start the machine and properly shut down and then come back. That's taking too much time. Ooh, no, unable to perform this action, contact your cloud administrator. Yeah, I need suspended machine. It's not letting me do that. So if your machine is suspended, then properly start it and then properly shut it down, uh, and then do it. Those who had shut down the machines already, go ahead and add exactly like this 9 more network cards total. It should be 10. Go ahead, right? So I'm gonna just simply go back to my machine number is site 2. I'll just power on all, but I'll shut down properly. Is site 2 and 3 on Vmware 1 was open and 2 hours lease remaining. So let me just Renew lease. So there is a suggestion 2 weeks from now. Hey, that's too far. Mariam says 2 weeks from now. I think the week after is okay, right? The midterm exam. Okay, my machine 6i2 and 3 are up. I'll just shut them down now. Only 6i2 and 3. Power off, power off. Hey, anyone has created a... Hey guys, you don't know in WhatsApp how to create a poll? Oh, come on. Okay, yeah. Anyway, later you can create a poll, no problem. Poll like exam next week or the week after. Okay. Yeah, here E6i2 and 3 are down, powered off, which is good. These two, I'm gonna go to E6i2 now. It should let me add 9 more network cards now. So I'm gonna go to details of E6i2, which is properly powered off, and add it. And now I'm gonna click new and just make sure that my network card, new ones all are exactly the same like the one we have. And I'm gonna click save just to check if it works. Okay, Nordine, it's done, I think. So yeah, go for E6i3 and same thing if you are done with E6i2. Oh yes, it works. Yay. I mean, like it adds. So one more card I added. Now I'm gonna add 8 more. New 7 more. So while saying that you have to go too fast, my heart is beating, trying to follow you. Okay, done. So, okay, I'll slow down. We click new, then we select internet one. I wish you had a control and you could fast forward me as well, right? So no, I could repeat that for you while and but I thought I was going
No,
slow.
it's okay if we don't have to do it the same time. I can just watch, but if you want me to copy you exactly, it's very hard to
Oh,
That's the idea, yeah. Because you are very fast. As I can just watch and do it later.
yeah, do it by this weekend then, and then yeah, upload the screenshots. Sure, you can do that. But majority would want it to be uploaded by today. So
Yeah, I used to do to follow you and upload everything the same spot, but now you are extremely fast. I mean, it's if this
hey
is
guys, am I fast or an extremely fast? No.
I mean, the interface is new to me at least.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, do it. It's okay. Do whatever you have to do. Don't worry about me.
Oh, okay. So yeah, I've reached 9, and yeah, so yeah, while you can see it and understand it, ask any questions, and sure, by this weekend, please do upload the screenshots. This is only for you. Okay, others follow me. So okay. Oh, there are hands up. So okay, yeah, Dua.
Yes, Amir, just a quick question. You said total 9, but now you're making total 10.
Yikes. Yeah, I was talking, so I think I added extra. I'll just delete
Okay.
one, and there you go. Thank you for noticing that.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. Hey, isn't that? I think I need to do PhD to check that.
Shouldn't you have 10, including with the one that was existing?
Yeah.
We're adding 9, right?
Now it's 10, right?
Yeah.
Because it starts from 0.
Yeah,
Right?
it's from 0.
Exactly. Okay. So yeah. So if I add 10th, then it will be 11. Oh. No. it's not total 9, it's total 10. And we're adding 9 more because one is already added. That's why it's not total 9, total is 10, but adding 9 more, O and K. So I'm going to keep that 0 as selected as the primary, which is O and K. And I'm going to go save. So total 10 nicks, it shows here.
Sorry, you don't select a network for the 9 one.
Thank you for noticing that too. All right, thank you. And I think everything looks same. Save. Yay. Okay, I'm gonna go do the same thing to E6i3. Now you know the drill. Go ahead. I think many of you have done it already. I'm gonna go to ESXi3, edit, new, change, new, change, new, change. Way back, I used to add these network cards when I was about to add a new feature, and that would take time. So then I thought, okay, from next course, we will just add all these in one go because it needs a restart. Zero, 1, 2, 3, 4, 9. Okay, save. All right, so we're good. Let us, yeah, we're done. So this task here, 9 nicks, is done only on E6i2 and 3. Make sure it was just 2 and 3. If you have by mistake added in one E6i1 as well, it's not going to disrupt anything. But yeah, it's specifically it's needed for 2 and 3 at least. These two must have these network cards. Okay, that is done. Let's go for install vCenter, and before that, I'm gonna check out. So I'm gonna power on all 4 virtual machines, hypervisors, and I'm gonna check if I can connect to all 4. Right. So I'm gonna go to yeah. So E6i2 and 3 are done. I'm just gonna power them on, right? And actions power on. So I'm gonna power on E6i2 and 3, and E6i1, 1. Okay, so those 2 are powering on. E6i1 was already powered on. I'm gonna go to my Windows machine, and I'm gonna, so in the diagram, oh, whoa, what a mess. Okay, so in the diagram, okay, I hope this color makes sense. Oh, and okay, so I need to connect to from this to all 3, right? Like these, and let's then go ahead and start doing our. So are you able to connect or not? That is the question. So I'm going to connect to VM console, and yep, it's so E6i1. Yep, I need to put the root, the passwords, and then I need to go to. Okay, I can log in and make sure you see the 3 disks. Ah, man. Okay, my bad. Okay, when I was telling you, you see the 3 disks. So I'm going to be testing connectivity to E6i2 and E6i3. Yes, I'm going to do that. But let me add one more thing, and that is create data stores on the 3 bonds. Oh, what is this and why are we doing this? So let me explain that. So make sure this is done, and we also make sure let's connect successfully to all 3 hyper Y and Zers. All right, so let's try that too. So that's what we were doing just now. And the above task is done. This we're doing, then we're going to do this, and I'm going to explain why. Okay. Let's go ahead. We were checking. Yeah, I can log in from, guys, check two things. You're logging in from E6i1 and you see in storage devices, you see MSFT, MSFT, MSFT in any order, but there should be 3 MSFTs. So what are these? As we all remember, these are these 3 disks that are actually located in this machine, but they are mapped over the network to this hypervisor, this hypervisor, this hypervisor, right? So anyone can tell me which machine is target and which machine is initiator. We talked about that in last class. If anyone can remember that, which machine is target, which machine is initiator?
And target is Windows 2019, and then initiator hypervisor 1, 2, and 3.
All right. Thank you. Excellent. So yes, this is target because it is offering storage over the network. These 3 are initiators because they are requesting storage over the network. So always remember that in the interview, this is very, very important, right? All right. So let's get back. So I have the initiators have requested successfully, and these 3 are there. I'm going to check the E6i2. I'm going to log into root and go inside. Good. So storage, devices, MSFT, MSFT, MSFT in any order if they're together or separate, but there should be 3 MSFT iSCSI disks, right? I'm going to go to root. Okay, it says refresh your browsers. I will and fresh. Maybe that machine is still logging in or something. Okay, advanced. Proceed to E6i3 root and the password. All right. So once we log in, I need to see the 3 iSCSI drives. Okay, it's not that screen, so I'm going to go to the storage. Okay, and it's on devices already, and it shows MSFT, 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 or actually iSCSI, 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 right? 3 iSCSI devices should be there, or LANs, sorry, not devices, LANs. They are LANs. 3 LANs are here in E6i3, 3 LANs are here in E6i2, 3 LANs are here in E6i1. Is that good with everyone? Yes. Okay, thank you for that reply, and that's very good to know. And let's get to the more complicated stuff now, right? So if we check, yes, we can connect, right? And yeah, before we deploy this dude here, this vCenter here, we need to make sure create data stores on the 3 LANs is done. Oh, what is this? Okay, so now I need a newer diagram. Hey, that was a lot of hard work. I'll just take a copy of this and put it there. Okay, thank you, Barakat, for creating that voting poll in WhatsApp. And 6 people say 2 weeks from now. Oh, okay, yeah. I mean, 2 weeks from now means the week after next week, not the week after. Okay, so anyway, yeah, that's great. And I will, okay, I've copied it there in WhatsApp for your records. You can also take help here from this diagram, from this mess. If you are able to understand that, you can take quick notes before the interview, or I don't know where else, but okay. I'll go back. Hey, everyone is agreeing for the week after, not next week. 10 people are agreeing already. Let's see how many more. Okay, you have to be in majority, guys. So if other 10 or 11 says no next week, then it's next week. Okay, so yeah, democracy, right? Democracy. All right, so let's get back to what we were doing. Yes. And where is my charger for the laptop? What is data store? So I'm just gonna grab a diagram here quickly. And go. And then let's start that thing. Oh, Control C. Okay, so what happens is that as we know that we have the 3 disks here, right? So LUN1, LUN2, LUN3, right? So these are all mapped. These are all mapped. So each one is mapped to each hypervisor. But remember, these are raw disks. What is a raw disk? Raw disk is, suppose you go to the shop, Best Buy here, or any other, newegg.com.ca. On Newegg is actually a shop name. So when you purchase a disk from there and it's covered, and then you bring it home and then you open the covers, so it's a raw disk. Nobody has used it yet, right? So that's the thing with this. As soon as you share the LANs over the network, this is a raw LAN or disk, shared disk over the network, which is unusable right now. You have to format it, right? So this is unusable. So what we're going to do is we're going to be creating data store on top of that. So we're going to be creating data stores. Oh, didn't like it. Okay, data store 1 and data store 2 and data store 3. Remember that the data stores are here as well, right? Data store is a partition that is of VMware. You can have one data store, you can have 2 data stores here, which means one partition C drive, second partition suppose D drive. In one data store you've installed a hypervisor, in other data store you've installed something else, right? So these are all data stores. Let me just quickly write that here as well. Okay, data store. Data store. So we need to create the data stores on top of these LUNs. So this is LUN 1. This is LUN 2. And this is LUN 3. And this is data store. So we're going to be creating now data store on top of those LUNs. If suppose you don't create data store, what will happen when you start creating a virtual machine here and you want to put its virtual machine files and its virtual disk, you won't be able to find a storage to put anything there. There has to be some kind of storage, or the shared disk over the network or LUN should be visible, detectable to the Windows, to the virtual machine that you're creating, right? But it won't be able to even see this because it's in raw format. You have to create a data store, and before that, you have to format it with VMFS file system, VMware file system, and then create a data store on top of that. Once you do that, when you start a virtual machine installation, and the wizard asks, hey, where do you want to install this virtual machine? If there's a data store here, it will see this LAN. It will see this storage. So basically, virtual machine sees data store, or that should be a point that we should always remember. That really. What happened here? Okay, I'll write it in the slide. And remember that as a rule of thumb, that here VMs cannot see LANs. VMs can only see data stores. So if the LAN is formatted, so the detail of that would be LAN formatted with VMFS and a data store or partition created on top of it. So if that's being done, or a data store only gets created when it's formatted with VMFS, any storage is formatted with VMFS, and the data store is created on top of that. VMs can only see data stores, right? So that's the main point here that we have to understand. I'll just remove that because I need to save this diagram for later use, although it's not that very nice. I used to create very nice diagrams. Okay, so this is a data store. Data store, right? And we're gonna name them properly, and we should always follow very good naming convention, right? I mean, administrators come up with, suppose there are 10,000 Windows virtual machines, 5,000 are in New York, and 5,000 are in Toronto branch, suppose. So you would want to name those machines in Toronto as suppose Toronto machines are like T, and because they have Windows, so T1, T Windows, suppose they have Windows 11 version, TW11, and the machine number is, suppose it's the 64th machine, so TW1164. So they come up with some kind of naming convention that they know that T for Toronto and New York, so N, it's W, and actually this is Windows 10, so W10, and the machine number itself is 32, suppose, right? So naming conventions, they come up with that, right? And they actually have meaning for that. And as soon as the machine name comes up, administrator would know right away, or desktop support guys will know right away, oh yeah, this is machine number 32, and it has Windows 10, and it is a New York branch. So in monitoring software, it would show that, oh, the T machine or the N machine is giving issues. So you would know right away the location by naming convention, smart naming convention, that is, right? So we're going to be giving some kind of naming convention here, because when you create huge amount of data stores, in a big environment, then it's really hard to follow that which data store is where, and what type of data store is this. Some data stores you can create on top of like a very fast performing LANs, and some data stores you can create on top of comparatively low performing ones, right? So you could name it accordingly as well. But for now, we're going to name that W, because they're coming from a Windows machine, right? And then, yeah, Noordin, you have a question?
Yeah, just in perspective of security best practice, is it okay to name the VM with the CT or with the OS system?
So you could also put, so T could be anything, but only administrators will know T is for Toronto. Suppose you say that no, hacker also knows there are two branches, so T would be Toronto, and yes, that is possible. So you could just name, you could just come up with anything like 47 means it's in Toronto, and 82 means it's New York, right? So you can just come up with anything and just name it. So 47 and then W10. Suppose that is so easy as well because I explained. So otherwise W10, Windows 10 would be 89. So 47 Toronto 89. So the name would be 4789 and machine number 32. Now the administrator would know only what that really means, and all others would not know, right? So you could come up with any kind of names. That was just an example. So, and yeah, administrators in big environments and banks. So man, machine names for a newcomer would be like, what? What is this? Only administrator would know exactly where this machine is, what is the type of machine, what kind of hardware is there, all in the name. Okay, so here W, which is because it's coming from Windows, because this disk came from Windows and it is connected, right? So W and D01. W, in fact, we can remove 0, we can just keep it 1. So it's coming from Windows, it's data store, and it's data store number 1, and it is L3. So this is LAN 3, right? So L3. So WD1L3, and this would be, it's also coming from Windows, so it's W. It's also a data store, but it's data store 2. So W2 L2 and W. It's still coming from Windows. It is still a data store, and 3 would be on L1 because we see it on L1, right? So this is how we can create naming conventions that only we would know. And WD data store 3 on L1 because it is on L1, right? Okay, so we get the idea. Now let's go to our environment and we need to create the data store, right? If the data store is not there, we can't even deploy our vCenter, right? So, but you have to understand obviously what we're doing and why we're doing that. So that has been explained. Another thing about the LUNs. Remember what I said before, and before that, okay, let me just save this diagram because I can drag this diagram again when I need it. So I'll quickly save this because then I have to create the whole environment again and again and again and again and again. So I'll just put it somewhere. My previous diagrams, which I lost somewhere, were much better created. What's going on here? Oh, okay. Let me just paste it on the OneNote. Okay, so one more thing I needed to show or explain here is that, remember, this LUN is connected to this hypervisor, same LUN is connected to this hypervisor, same LUN is connected to this hypervisor, right? We know that already, actually. So this data store that we create is accessible from this hypervisor, is accessible from this hypervisor, and is accessible from this hypervisor, right? So when we create, suppose we connect from E6i1, right? And we say, okay, I'm creating the data store WD1L3. Okay, once I create that data store through this system, I created. So this same LUN is attached here and here as well. So when you create a data store, you just have to create it once, which means you connected from E6i1 and you created the data store. When you go to E6i2, you will already find this data store. You don't have to go to 2 and create it as well. You don't have to go to 3 and create it as well because it's the same LUN connected to all 3 hypervisor. So when you create a data store from any one hypervisor, it will automatically appear in the other 2 hypervisors as well. I hope you understand that. So this means that you can connect from any hypervisor and create a data store, and this data store will appear automatically on the other 2 hypervisors because it's created on top of a LUN or shared disk, and that shared disk is the same attached to all 3 hypervisors, right? Okay, yeah, there's a hand raised, Irene.
Just to confirm, ESX 0, 1, 2, and 3, they have their own data stores and LUNs.
Yes.
Okay. So one each.
Yeah. So their own data stores. Yes, the local data store, and then they have shared over the network data stores as well, which are called LUNs. And one LUN 1 or LUN 3 is attached to this hypervisor and this hypervisor and this hypervisor. LUN 2 is attached to this hypervisor, this hypervisor, this hypervisor, and LUN 1 is attached to this hypervisor, this hypervisor, this hypervisor. So all three LUNs are attached to all three hypervisors, and they are shared over the network. While local, this storage is not called LUN. This is just local storage, and it has a data store as well. So yeah, they are connected with E6i has three LUNs connected here. Exactly. But those three LANs are also connected to 6i2 and 3. And you will see its benefit later when we are installing advanced features like fault tolerance and all the high availability and disaster recovery features. Then you will know that this is very beneficial architecture. So yes, they all have the data store and LANs attached to them, all three hypervisors. Okay. So what I'm going to do is we're going to connect from E6i1 to create a data store, but we could connect from 3 and create a data store. It will appear in other two. We could connect to 2 that create the data store, and it will appear in 1 and 3. So it doesn't matter where you connect, whichever hypervisor you connect and create a data store on, it will automatically appear on the other hypervisors. Now, why? Because they are on the LAN. But suppose you decide, oh, there's a local storage here. I will create another data store here as well, right? But yes, this data store is local only to this E6i2. Why? Because it's on top of a disk, this disk, which is only available in this hypervisor. So if you create a data store here in a local disk, it will only be on this hypervisor. It will not be seen on the other hypervisor. But if you create a data store on a LAN that is attached to all three hypervisors, so once you create it in any one hypervisor, through any one hypervisor, it will appear automatically on the other two hypervisors as well, because it's on top of a LAN that is attached to all three hypervisors. So that's the difference between local data store, which is just really actually local and only on that hypervisor, and the LAN-based data stores. Okay, so let's connect to E6i1 and or 2 or 3, whichever is in front of me. I'll just connect and start creating data store from there. If I go to my Windows machine, right? It kicked me out. Let me kick myself in. Okay, I see the LANs, right? So I'm in E6i1. I could be in 2, I could be in 3, doesn't matter, right? So for no particular reason, I'm in E6i1. I go to storage and I see devices, but actually I need to go here, data stores, right? So I'm going to click data stores here, and I see only one data store. Anyone knows, is it a LAN-based data store or is it a local disk-based data store? Anyone knows that? Local, exactly. So this data store is created on top of the local physical disk here, right? This data store is that because we haven't created the LAN. So we can see the LANs from devices area, yes, MSFT, iSCSI, but since we didn't create a data store on top of those three, so that's why there is no data store other than the local data store that is automatically created when we deploy the hypervisor for the first time in this machine, because it needs to format it with VMFS and create a data store in order for the hypervisor to be installed properly, right? So, okay, I'm in storage and in data stores area, and I'm going to click new data store, right? So once I click new data store, it says, hey, you want to create a new VMFS data store? You want to create and extend to existing VMFS data store, expand an existing VMFS data store, extend, mount NFS data store. So first is straightforward, create new data store. But what is this? Add and extend to an existing VMFS data store. So increase the size of an existing data store by adding a new extent on another disk. Extent is just extension of the disk. So if I go here, so there is this LAN here. There's another LAN attached to it. So you want to extend this data store to another on top of another LUN, so you can do that too. Or you can create another data store here, so small data store here, and show that this data store extended to this and attached to this. So this is just one big data store here. So you can extend it as well if you have extra LUN space. Expand existing data store, increase the size of an existing data store to growing an existing extent into adjacent free space. So this is also you want to, so there's a separately added data store that you attach and make it a big one, or you can just grow this data store to extra space that is free here. If there is a free space here in the other LUN, you can grow this data store. So sometimes people don't create, suppose this disk is what, 1 terabyte. Suppose this is 1 terabyte, suppose, right? So they create a data store that is 500 GB only. And the rest of the 500 GB is just free, right? Because you create a data store on half of the LUN, right? So later you can extend it, expand it, and use some more part of the LUN, then some more until it is reached to 1 terabyte. So that is expansion as well. That is called expansion. So I'm just gonna remove this. Okay. So if we go here, NFS based, mount NFS based data store, this is if you have a Linux machine here in your network. So it's a proper Linux machine, right? So it has Linux OS and it's on top of, suppose, 20 terabyte, it's huge disk space is there, suppose. Now, OS and some apps you install packages, you install Linux packages, and it used up to 5 terabyte. 15 terabyte is sitting there doing nothing, right? So you can use, suppose 5 terabyte use. So from that 10 terabyte, you can create a folder there and share it over the network. On that shared folder, because it's Linux, so VMware is also made of Linux, right? So because of that Linux machines folder coming from a free disk, on that free shared folder, you can also create data stores. So they say if your LUNs ran out of space, you can also use free space of a Linux machine in your environment. So that is mount NFS data store, right? But not all advanced features of VMware work on Linux machine shared folder-based data stores. But many of the features work. vMotion works, and I think FT also works. But better if it is formatted with own VMware's own proprietary OS and its created data store, then all the features of VMware will work there. So we're creating a data store here. We're going to click create new VMFS data store. We're going to select that and we're going to click next. And you can see all 3 LUNs are there, right? I will stick to the naming convention. I want to name a data store and select a LUN on top of which I want to create it. Okay. So here, oh, okay. So here, what I was talking about was, yeah. So the naming convention. Naming convention is, we talked about that. So WD1L3. Let's give this name, but we can come up with any naming convention. Better what I'm saying. W, it's coming from Windows. D, and this is data store. It's first data store 1. L3. Now there's a question here. Hey, how do you know it's L3? So if it was so if it was a proper LUN. Oh man, what's going on here? Yeah, if it was a proper physical LUN or storage area network or SAN you have purchased, we could track it back to, hey, is this LAN number 1, 2, 3? Right now it is uh, like a object ID or just a LAN ID here. And from that, it's going to be very difficult to trace back to, hey, was it LAN 1 back there or not? Because it's a virtual environment, nested virtualization. So it's not actual hardware LAN. So that's why we're just assuming this is LAN 3 according to the diagram, LAN 3 here, but it could be LAN 1. We don't know. In this environment, we can't really track it that easy. We're just going to go with the diagram, Windows, then data store 1, L3. This is the data store name, right? And we selected the first one and click next. And then here, there's use full disk, and or you can go for custom, right? So custom is, you can select here, and you can choose from here that, oh, I want to use only half of this disk, right? So you can keep going wherever you think is half, and the rest of the LAN, suppose you don't want to use, right? So then in that case, it is, you can choose some part of the LAN that I'm going to create data store on, but I'm going to go for use full disk, right? And yeah, you can go for VMware file system, older for backward compatibility. So use full disk, and I'm going to use full LAN here, right? And click next. And it says, yeah, it's 700 GB or 699, which is okay, and click finito, right? And yeah, so it's going to format that. It says that all data will be gone, and we say, yeah. Go ahead. And so now I see WD1 L3, right? We see WDL. So now this, I'm going to create the second and third, but when I go to 6i2, I should be seeing all three there, the LAN-based data store, and in 6i3 as well, automatically all those data stores should be showing there as well. I'm just going to create on this one. I don't have to create here on 2, and I don't have to create on 3. It should be automatically showing there whatever I create here, the data stores, LAN-based data store, that is. So I'm going to go for new data store here. Yes, it's the first. Now you know the drill. So just select the first one, click next, and 2 LANs are now left. So WD, so Windows machine, data store 2, L2, according to the diagram, L2, right? So L2, select this, whatever is the next one, and click next. And we're not using some part of the data store, we're going to use the whole of it, and click next. And that's it. Finito. All right, we press yes. And the second data store should be appearing, the LAN-based data store should be appearing here. Monday or Sunday. Okay, I'll click somewhere else and come back here. Successfully created. Yep, second data store is showing here. I'm going to go for the third one and follow the same steps. So same one, next, and that would be, it's still coming from Windows. It's the data store 3 from LAN 1 according to the diagram on 1, and that's the only one remaining here, and click next. Yep, we use the full disk here, and click next, and finito. And yes, so we get the idea here. Okay. WD3L1. Yep. So now we can check, and we are expecting these three data stores to be showing from ESXi2 and from ESXi3 as well. Yeah, right? So I'm going to go to ESXi2 root small ABC, capital ABC, shift 1, 2, 3. Yes. Oops, I put some extra 1, 2, 3s here. Okay, so yeah, the storage and then devices shows the launch, but I need to see the data stores. And I don't see the data stores. Yay. Oh, what? Okay, I'm gonna re-and fresh. Hopefully that. Otherwise, rescan, refresh, right? And it's not there. Yay. Okay, so I'll go to devices, rescan, refresh. Oh, it's in shock. Okay. Adapters, rescan, refresh. Data stores. Okay, click anything else here. Virtual machines. Then come back here, and there you go. Oh, actually, it's there. So I wanted to time it. There you go. Go. So I'm gonna go for the third one. Yeah, it's just a matter of time before they appear here as well. We don't really need to create them. Okay, so okay, and are they there already? No. Okay, we do the same thing. Devices, rescan, refresh. Rescan, refresh. Okay, data stores. Yes, no, maybe, maybe not. Okay, go somewhere else. Virtual machines. Come back here. And there you go. Oh, actually, they're there. Okay, so make sure these are data stores are showing in all three hypervisors. So this is our screenshot number 1, where a data LAN-based data stores created. Screenshot number 1. Okay. Okay. So let us start the next. So here we did this. So only one screenshot. Yep. Okay. Of anyone. So install vCenter, guys. This is the next one. More complicated one. Hopefully, all goes good. Okay, so the first thing is install vCenter. What is that? So on Windows VM, go to vCloud and attach VCSA ISO image. Come to Windows, inside, and go to DVD-ROM, and well, go inside to launch the vCenter deployment wizard. Also, we're going to be so go through the wizard, create an A record of this new VM, which is the VCSA or vCenter server appliance, or a virtual machine with vCenter already installed inside VCSA, right? So you need to still give it a name and a new IP. So create an A record of this new VM with a new name of the VM and new static IP. So it's a new machine, right? So a machine would need a name and IP, right? So name equals your first name VCSA, IP equals, so whatever IP we haven't used in this environment till now. So if I go to the diagram here, we're about to create a virtual machine here. And that virtual machine will have, that's it. That virtual machine. So this is VCSA. Wow, that's a huge font. So I'll just double click that. Only it lets us write something. Okay. Anyway, I'll just write here. So this is the VCSA, right? VM that we're about to deploy from here. So it has to be given a name, and the name would be your first name and the IP. So IP has to be a static IP, and how do we know? So it should be unused IP, right? So we have to go to our DNS here. So if I go to the server manager and then go to tools and then go to DNS, and you don't have to follow me now, but I'm just explaining that I need to check that what IPs are already taken. So 1, 2, 3, and 10 are taken. So the next available IP is 4 up to 9, right? And then after 11 till 254. Actually, we gave a range, DHCP range to from 50 up to 100. So 11 up to 49, and then 101 up to 254. So many IPs are there available, right? But right now, the next available IP is 4. So that we confirm, and it would be 192.168 dot your third octet dot 4 would be the IP of the new machine that we are about to create now, right? So let's follow these steps and start the installation of vCenter. But we're going to be discussing some more concepts here. Okay, so first thing is on Windows VM, go to vCloud and attach VCSA ISO image. So you have to be careful what you're doing. Okay, here I'm going to go to the vCloud, right? In vCloud, this is a Windows VM where in its CD-ROM, I need to attach the new image, the VCSA, to deploy the vCenter. So I'm going to go to Actions, right? I'm going to go down. There is Eject Media, and there is Insert Media, right? So whatever media is already there, whatever ISO image is already there, I need to eject that. Then I'm going to go to Insert Media Enter. So first I'm going to click Eject, then I'm going to click Insert. But be careful what you connect there. So first I click Eject, it's clicked. I'm going to go click Actions again, go down again, Insert Media, right? Insert Media. Okay, so here, VMware Vmvisor installer 7. Guys, there is Vmvisor 8 there as well. Do not go there. So if you see the word Vmvisor and if you see the word 7, if you see the number 7, make sure it's Vmvisor. Oh man, what am I saying? What am I saying? Whoa. Time out. Okay, sorry. We already installed that. This is hypervisor. What's wrong with me, man? So VCSA and 7, wherever you see VCSA, because it's vCenter Server appliance, right? And 7. So do not go for VCSA 8, go for VCSA 7. So it's the second one from the top that you have to select. And if you selected that after clicking the insert media, then click insert. So it's second from the top, VCSA 7. All right. So once I connected to this,
can you do it again, please?
Sure. Here on VM01, the Windows VM, not ES6501, VM, Windows VM, go to Actions, go down here, first click Eject Media. So I click Eject Media. Then on the same Windows VM01, go to Actions again and click Insert Media. And from the top, the second one says VCSA 7. Make sure these two are there. VCSA 7. Select that and insert. If this is done, then we can go inside the Windows and like connect to the zone. Okay, so I'm going to go back to, once this outside thing is done, then we can go back to the Windows because it's in the DVD of this Windows now, right? So I'm going to minimize this. And so I'm going to click this yellow folder, right? And this PC. And your drive, DVD drive should be showing VMware VCSA. This means that you have attached the correct VCSA image. If you don't see this in the DVD VCSA, then you have to go back and click the eject media, and then again click insert media and select second from the top, the VCSA 7. Okay. So once you see that inside the Windows, double click that. Ooh. Okay. And so there's that VCSA UI installer. So inside, you have to go further inside the folders. VCSA UI installer, right? VCSA UI installer. Then there's for, suppose you have Linux and you want to deploy it from the Linux to the hypervisor, or from the Mac, Apple Mac, you want to deploy over the network, or if you want to go for Windows, and that's what we have, Windows 32, right? I'm going to double click Win32, and here I'm going to select this. So hopefully you are able to see. So from DVD-ROM, go to VCSA UI installer folder, and inside the VCSA UI installer, it is Win32 folder, right? So let's double click that installer, and it's going to launch that wizard. And that wizard should yeah, so it should look like this. Seat is stuck. All right, so this is how the wizard looks like. And you can see there's install, upgrade, migrate, and restore, right? So obviously we're going to go for install, but anyone knows what's the difference between upgrade and migrate? What's the difference between upgrade and migrate? Yeah.
I believe to upgrade is to increase the updates, But migrate is to move from one server to another.
Yeah. So yeah, there's another hand raised.
Yeah, upgrade is for upgrading the existing installation or existing vCenter, while migrating is migrating the existing installation to a new device or new server.
Okay, exactly. So upgrade, suppose you have this physical server here where the VCS is suppose 6.5 or 6.7 is installed, older version, right? So on the same physical server, if you want to deploy ESXi 7, which is the newer version, so if you don't change the hardware, then it is called upgrade or in place upgrade as well. But migrate is that suppose you have 6.7 vCenter installed here, but the hardware is very old, and you see that the new vCenter 7 is not recommended to be installed on this old hardware. So vCenter 6.7, the older version remains here, while you prepare another physical server or a hypervisor, and then you it's a new hardware where you deploy vCenter 7, but you will migrate that. So all the configurational information or configuration settings of 6.7 vCenter, the older one, will go to another hardware with a newer vCenter 7. So if the hardware changed, the machine changed, it's a migrate. If the machine remained the same, it's upgrade. But in both cases, you're moving from older application to newer application, right? And so if you have taken a backup of the vCenter application, then you can restore from here. Well, what we're going to do is click the install. So I'm going to click the install. So this will appear here, right? And it says that the installer allows you to install a vCenter Server 7. It's a two-stage installation. Stage 1 is deploy vCenter Server, and stage 2 is set up vCenter Server. So first, it deploys all the base files of the application and the virtual machine. Then it sets it up or configures it, right? So yeah, we're going to click next. Accept the license agreement and click next. So be careful in all this. It is asking for the ESXi host or vCenter server name. So basically in diagram, it is saying that which hypervisor you want to deploy this vCenter on. So we're going to go for the ESXi. Now we can give fully qualified domain name here for the ESXi because we can connect to it by name, right? So what is the fully qualified domain name of FQDN of ESXi01? So if we go to the DNS, we can check it out. Or suppose you don't know where is DNS, you can go to Server Manager. You can go to Tools, and there is DNS here like this. So from DNS, I need to just find out the fully qualified domain name of ESXi01. So if I go to the DNS server, then if I expand the forward lookup zone, then I expand the your first name humb.local. So there's that ESXi01 where I need to deploy this, right? So I'm going to double click that just to see this thing. So your first name ESXi01 dot your domain name suffix. So this is, there's a prefix or starting portion, and there's a suffix, the ending portion. So I need this whole name, right? You can just type it as well. I'm just copying it from here, the FQDN, fully qualified domain name. I'm going to cancel this and close. the DNS, and go to this green wizard here at the bottom, and I need to Control V this. So make sure there's no spaces in the start or the end, and yeah, everything is good. Okay, so here you need to give the username. So that's a hypervisor, right? So we're just giving access to the hypervisor. So obviously it's the root is the username. We didn't create any other local user in the E6i hypervisor. So that's the same what we did before, root and the password for the hypervisor on which we're going to deploy vCenter, right? So make sure spellings are correct, and that's it, root and password. So click next. So it says, hey, are you sure this is the correct hypervisor? And this is the SHA-1 thumbprint that ends with 6A, 8B, 6B, just to always make sure that you're following the correct steps. 6A, 8B, 6B, you don't really need to follow me, but if I go into, I just want to show you where it is, where is it in actual hypervisor 1. So if I go to hypervisor E6i01, I go to VM console and go to function F2 to log in. I don't need to grab any information from here. I'm just showing where it is, this same SHA-1 self-signed certificate thumbprint. So if I go down to this, view support information, right? This view support information. And here you see here this 6A, last 6A, 8B, 6C, right? So if I minimize this and go to this, so 6A, 8B, 6B. So that's how you can just confirm as well that, oh, okay, yeah, I'm connecting to the correct E6i1 hypervisor, and its self-signed certificate thumbprint is this. Okay, I'm going to close this. So yeah, it's correct one, and press yes. Okay, so specify the VM settings for the vCenter server to be deployed. So it needs some kind of setup of the virtual machine that we're about to deploy. So we are deploying a virtual machine from over the network from Windows machine to this VM we're deploying over the network to hypervisor, right? E6i1. So it's saying, hey, you want to name it something? Yeah, I'll stick with the default name, but the password, it's class password, and it accepts here complex password only. Simple password, it will reject here. So small ABC, capital ABC, ship 1 2 3 without ship 1 2 3. It is complex enough. Okay, so same class password I have given here. Name remains the same. It's okay. And click next. Okay, now it says here, select deployment size. So it has for small, medium, large environments, it has those sizes and licenses and the amount that goes with it. So tiny, small, medium, large, extra large, right? And extra large, triple. You can, oh no, that's not Tim Hortons. So tiny, 2 vCPUs, 12 GB memory, storage, 463 GB. It supports up to 10 hosts. We have only 3 hosts, right? But maximum with tiny installation, we can go up to 10 hosts and 100 virtual machines. We have right now no virtual machine, but maximum is 100 virtual machines it supports. Small will go for 4 vCPUs. So remember that our hypervisors have 2 vCPUs only, right? So that's why our environment supports tiny, and that's the minimum. There's nothing lesser than that. Then small goes for 4 vCPUs, 19 GB RAM, and 528 GB storage, and 100 hosts and 1000 VMs. Medium goes for 8 vCPUs, 28 GB RAM, storage is 748, 400 hypervisors maximum it can go, 4000 virtual machines, large 16 vCPUs. Each hypervisor will have 16 vCPUs, 37 GB memory minimum, 113 storage, 1113, and 1000 hosts. We have only 3 hosts. 1000 hosts, it goes up to 10,000 virtual machine. Pretty large environment, right? And extra large still is there. 24 vCPUs for processor, 56 memory and GB memory, 1853 minimum storage, 2000 hosts, 35,000 virtual machines. So that's pretty huge. So yeah, we stick to tiny and click next. Oh, yeah. So I think everyone's getting that, and that is something that I would have should have seen. Obviously, it requires 12 GB or more memory. And it's okay. You can keep the screen up. We will. So what it says is that this guy should have, more than 12 or 12 GB memory. So what we're going to do is we're going to shut down E6i1. We're going to give it 14 GB memory, and then we're going to start it again. Once it is fully started, then we're going to click back. And when we go next, it's going to be okay. So yeah, this was missed. So what I'm going to do is let's go for E6i1 only, and I'm going to go to actions on E6i1 hypervisor only, power off, change its RAM to 14 GB from 8 GB, and start it again.
Sorry, sir. When we turn off the hypervisor one, when you go to edit, where do we find the memory? Sorry.
Yeah, just power off first.
Yeah, I just power off. I'm here in the general. Where do you find
so once E6i1, have you powered off?
Yeah.
Then go to details and compute. And you see CPU, then you see memory. So we need to go to memory. So make sure it is powered off properly. Then go to details, go to compute, and then below is memory. So just click edit, change 8 GB to 16 GB, save, and power on E6i01. So I'm going to click edit here. Hopefully my E6i1 has powered off fully. Otherwise, it won't let me actually change. So 14, sorry, 14. And yeah, that's it, 14 GB, that's it. And save, should be saved, successful E. Yep. So 14 GB is done. I'm just gonna power on the ES6i01 hypervisor now and get back to the vCenter deployment. Hopefully it detects. So E6i1, power on. Power on. O and K. So yeah, we're gonna get a break when we have started that vCenter, because it's gonna take like 30 to 40 minutes of deployment time. Oh man. Okay. Okay, I guess E6i1 is powered on. I'm gonna go back to the Windows machine where it gave an error. So it would have detected that E6i was restarted. So I've seen that it does detect that if the memory was increased, we don't have to really cancel the wizard. We don't have to. So if you're back here, hey, I need to make sure E6i1 is fully started. So I'm going to go to VM console. And yeah, it's fully on. I'll close this window. And then, so if it is powered on, then we'll click back 2 or 3 times and then come back here again. And this error should not come. It should detect that the memory is enough. So I'm going to click back, back, back. And now let's click next, next, next. So next, next. Yeah, it will say thumbprint. Yes. Next. So we were on this page, right? So hopefully now it doesn't give the error. Next. Yay. Okay. So now any of the LUN-based data stores, we can deploy this hypervisor, this VCSA VM on. So if I go to the diagram here, so either data store 1 or data store 2 or 3, all are 700 GB. So we have enough space there, and all 3 data stores are empty. So anyone is okay. I'll go for the top one for no particular reason. WD3, so data store 3, LUN 1. It could be any one of the LUN-based data stores, as long as it's not local disk-based data store. It is LUN-based data store, so anyone is good. So I'll just go for the top one. Make sure that you are selecting enable thin disk mode. This means that it's not going to occupy all the data store, but it's going to just occupy that much space that is needed by the software that is being installed. So it's gonna be comparatively slow, but it's gonna be still going to save our space. Okay, so enable thin disk mode, and the top data store is selected, and click next. Okay, guys, this is the most important page here. We need to. Now, this is a virtual machine. So virtual machine name and IP address need to be given. Not only that, it needs to be given. If I go to the diagram here, it needs to be added to the DNS as a AN pointer record as well, because once it is fully deployed, we need to access it by name. So it's AN pointer record. First of all, we have to come up with a name, which I already mentioned in the slide. We have to come up with a new unused static IP, which we also came up with. So we're gonna put that here in the that wizard, and also in the DNS. Then we can only go ahead, right? Okay, so I'm gonna go back here, and it asks for fully qualified domain name, which means Obviously, if I go to the DNS again, actually it's the same machine. Here, I'll keep this window open, and I'm going to go down to Server Manager to open the DNS once again, Tools, and DNS, right? And then I'm going to go for your first name in 10, for lookup zone expand, and your first name hum.local expanded as well. So I need to grab the name from here, or so I can just double click anyone. What about this one? I need to grab this much portion, right? Because that's the domain name. Or you remember the domain name, just go type it, right? So I'm just grabbing just the domain name here, because the rest of the name is VCSA. That's it, right? And your first name VCSA. In fact, let me just show you what we came up with. Your first name VCSA, right? So that's the domain name that I chose. I'm going to go back to the green wizard, and your first name VCSA dot control V. So the domain name, that's it, right? Your first name VCSA dot your domain name. IP address is, we know that the 4 IP is not used, so 192.168. Your third octet, oops, 192.168. Your third octet dot 4. Make sure it's your third octet, not 0. Okay. We need to give this information as a new A record and pointer record in DNS. So I just need this portion to create a record inside my DNS. So I'm just going to right click here or Control C to copy this, or just type it when we are there in the DNS. I need to go to DNS, create a record, right? It asks me a name and an IP. So I'm going to go to DNS, and we created these 3 A records, right? Same way, we're going to create this 4th A record and PTR or pointer record as well. So how do we do that? We can select anywhere here. We can right click here, anywhere. And new host, A or AA, right? Yeah, Control V, your first name VCSA, whatever you exactly typed there, it's not case sensitive, but it is spelling sensitive. So it should not be incorrect spelling. So your first name VCSA and the IP. So it automatically fills up the domain. We know that. So just go for the IP 192.168. Your third octet .4. Make sure that is how it is configured.
Excuse me, sir. Could you repeat that one? Once we select the fully qualified, after right click, new host, are we selecting the first one? Sorry, the new host.
Yeah, sure. It's let me cancel this. So are you in DNS?
Yeah, on the same one. Yeah, right click. Okay. After reload, the second one, right?
Yeah. Right click like this, anywhere here in the white area. Right click and then go for new host A record. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
And then Control V, because, or just type the name which you gave there exactly, and the IP 192.168. Your third octet .4. So make sure this is correct. Once and yeah, the rest is already there. Like create associated pointer record is already selected, which is okay. No change other than name and IP, right? And we're gonna click add host, right? Then we're gonna refresh the name of the DNS, so it will refresh everything here. Then we're gonna go for reverse lookup zone, and we're gonna check that if pointer record IP and name was added here as well. Okay, I'm going to click add host. This is successful. Press OK. Click done. Then we need to refresh, right? It says one of the property sheets are open. Really? We don't need that. But anyway, so refresh the DNS level. Oh, it says that again. Very strange. I don't have anything open here. I'll minimize. Oh, yeah. In my case, it was open. Yes. Okay. So I'm back here, and I refresh now. Now it's okay. And then go for reverse lookup zone. Expand that, and click that. So yes, I do see IP that I just added in a record. Its pointer record has been created as well. Make sure that it is created and then just refresh only few million times. Refresh. Okay. So now I do not need DNS. I hope you have made sure that the spellings of the name and the IP address itself was correct. So I'm going to close DNS. And I'm going to go for green wizard icon here where the information I'm confirming is correct. Okay, so subnet mask, we all know it's 255.255.255.0. So 255.255.255.0. Default gateway. Default gateway is 192.168.your third octet. Anyone knows what's the default gateway?
10.
10.
Yeah, exactly. 10. And the DNS is the same. So 192.168.your third octet.10. So default gateway and the DNS both are 10. If we go further down here, yeah, HTTP port 80 con ports and HTTPS is 443. Both are going to be available for this machine. Yeah, that's it. So 191.0.10.04. Okay. So just make sure everything is okay. And yeah, Stephen.
Okay. Please, how do you solve the problem of that DNS when adding static IP address? It says I have one of its children open, so I'm trying to check the file that I opened, so I don't understand.
So it's not letting you put 4 as the IP address?
Yes, I've included the IP address, so I just want to refresh that A record.
Okay, so you can share your screen now, and hopefully you're able to see that. Okay, so I'm gonna go for the final next step, and guys, it's yeah.
168.
Oh, okay. So
0.10.
okay, Stephen, please mute the mic. Thank you. Okay, so here, guys, it's kind of fingers crossed. Sometimes vCloud environment doesn't let us install. In that case, then I have to redo the whole environment and show you how to install everything in local. I have a mini PC with 32 GB RAM and i7 quad core, but it's like 5th gen machine. So still it works with 1 terabyte SSD. So, but many times it works, sometimes it doesn't work. So if for any one of you it works, I'm going to connect to your machine and carry on with the rest of the things, because I need to show you the next more complicated stuff, how step by step it is installed and what is the concept behind that. So we cannot stop if we get errors on large scale or small scale. I have to still show you and record all the videos of big labs, right? So hopefully it is successful for all of us, or few, at least any one of us, so I could connect to that person's machine and continue showing you. But if there is an error, I'll show you how to reinstall, or explain to you how to reinstall. But right now, let's go ahead and click next. And there's a summary here showing. And from here, it's like 30 to sometimes 30 minutes, sometimes it's 25 minutes. It keeps on installation going. So I'm going to click finish, which means that's going to start the wizard now, right? Start the installation of ECSA. So click finish. So it has started the deployment. And good luck here. And let's take a break and come back. So class 2, 826, 36. Anyone completed already, or?
Sir, mine is on successful and proceed to stage 2. Need to press continue.
Okay, God, that's good news. Let's see. Anyone else? Mine. Oh, you know, I should move my mouse. Oh. 97%. It's stuck there. Or is it gonna move? All right, so Shahab is waiting to go to the next stage. This is good. Mariam says waiting for RPM installation to start. Anyone else? Oh, okay. So there are percentages here: 97, Nuruddin, Miharib, 87%, Samuel, 76%, Burkut, 80%. Irene, not started yet. Okay. That is so far the fastest. And Mariam says 80%, stuck on 80%, 97%. So Burkut says stuck on 80%. Frank says 97%. And Maria, okay, 80%, yeah. So Hussein Ali says still waiting. Oh, come on. Stephen says 78%. Samuel says 80%. Come on, man. Maybe I could close the window and open it again. And okay. You know, we could, continue with the Shahab's screen to understand. Oh, it moved. So we can move to like, shall we wait or move on with Shahab's screen while others are still going for it, like waiting for it? I think we all are deploying that, so maybe it's too much for the hardware. Okay, Nuruddin says move on. So yeah, mine is done too. Yay! Oh, this calls for celebration. Yay! Okay, yeah. So, well, this is the stage. So Shahab, okay. Anyone else other than I and Shahab are on this page? Or anyone, if you're there, then only you can say. If no one says anything, this means no. Okay, so we get it. Let's go ahead. So it says here to proceed with stage 2 of the deployment process, vCenter server setup, click continue. If you exit, you can continue with the vCenter server setup at any time. So there's that link here that ends with 5480. This URL is for the maintenance of vCenter application, right? If you want to this virtual machine, if you want to maintain this virtual machine, this is that URL. So we're going to be coming back to that URL later as well. I'm just going to click continue. Let's continue for those who are there. Loading stage 2, it says. And now stage 2, installing the vCenter server is a 2-stage process. The first stage has been completed. Click next to proceed to the second stage. So I'm just going to click next here. Retrieving the current settings. So time synchronization mode, synchronize time with the ESXi host. We don't have a NTP or network time protocol server here, so we're going to stick to the default option. And SSH access we're going to enable because later we may need it to connect to some, like for updates or for backups. So anyway, secure shell, we're enabling that, and click next. It says IP address change warning. You're about to modify the IP address for this vCenter server. You might lose connectivity for a few minutes. Also, you might be redirected to the following URL. This is the URL of the VCSA local machine. This machine's the VCSA that we're deploying, its maintenance URL. So I'm just going to press OK here. And then it says create a new SSO or single sign-on domain. SSO, single sign-on. What is that? Single sign-on is single sign-on means that you can connect multiple applications with one username, password, or one set of credentials. So here it says that create a new SSO domain. So it is just asking to create a new domain, but suppose this was the second vCenter installation. Suppose there's a vCenter that you've deployed in Toronto branch, right? So now you're deploying another vCenter in New York branch, suppose. So then in New York branch, you would be join an existing SSO domain and you would connect to the Toronto branch vCenter. But this is a new installation, so we're going to stick here to the first option. Also, it is asking for, okay, so Nuruddin also is done with the stage 1. That's great news. Okay, so here we need to put our domain name. Just like for creating a domain in Windows, remember that we gave humb.local as the domain name, your first name humb.local as the domain name. So VMware also goes with the same format. Here we can put any name, something dot something, prefix dot suffix, but you can see that gray written here, vsphere.local. This is just an example they're giving, but we're gonna actually create that domain, vsphere.local, right? So vsphere.local, right? vsphere.local. So we're gonna give this domain. It could be anything dot anything, but we're gonna give this. The local user account is the administrator account. So that is exactly the same as Windows Server when you create a domain there. So here also local administrator account is the same. And single sign-on password. So we're gonna go for the class password. Okay. So I'm gonna go for class password. Small ABC, capital ABC, shape 1, 2, 3, without shape 1, 2, 3, and okay. So we got the class password here. And yeah, it's pretty straightforward till now, right? And this is the first installation of vCenter, so there is no other to join, so we're good. And click next. Okay. Okay, now it says join the VMware's customer experience improvement. So we don't want to improve the experience. We're gonna uncheck that and click next. And now it's the final summary of that. Yeah, it's the same information we gave. Just make sure that the spellings here are okay. vsphere.local, VSPHERE, right? So we gave this spelling, or whatever spelling you gave, just copy somewhere, or take a picture of that so you don't forget it. Okay, anyway, let's click finito and stage 2 will start. It's supposed to be a smaller time stage. It doesn't take much time, but yeah, let's see. So finish and okay, right? Anyone who reached the previous stage 1 completed that, and you don't know what to do, then let me know, or you can share screenshot in the chat. You can share your screen here and I can help you out. If anyone finished stage 1 successfully and want to know what to do next, although the options are pretty straightforward, but let's see. So yeah, Irene.
Where to install the vCenter again? Sorry. The first
Where?
one.
Where to? You can share a screen and I can guide you.
Oh, okay.
Or if it's a long thing, then I can connect to your machine. Maybe I can connect to your machine, I guess. How about that? Because it's gonna take some time. It's not gonna take, stage 2 will take not that much time. So let me know if anyone stage 2 is done as well. Okay. Meanwhile, I can connect to, so that's Irene, 1%. Hopefully everything is good. So what I was trying to say here is that in case there is a DNS error, hopefully we don't get it. But if we do get it, then whoever gets it, if so guys, those who are stuck, please keep checking your Windows virtual machine in the vCloud dashboard, because your machine could be suspended and frozen. So just keep an eye on the dashboard here and see if your machine is on and this VM console is blue and it says powered on instead of suspended. So if it's not replying for a long time, just keep an eye on that. Hopefully mine is not suspended. Okay, all good. So what I was saying was that remember that we gave this configuration. Suppose you had to reinstall vCenter, right? So in that case, you have to, if you suppose want to reinstall, right? So you have to give new name. So suppose you can add one here if you're reinstalling and the machine needs a name. So you can change the name to just add one here, or obviously it has to be a different name. And you can just choose the next available IP5, right? If you had to reinstall this whole vCenter, right? Because the A record for this name and IP would be there. Either you remove the A record, restart the machines, and then use the same name. Otherwise, go for new name, new IP, or next available IP or unused IP, right? In case you had to reinstall. So that's the main thing you need to understand. One more thing is that if you have to reinstall, so this machine here would be still, I mean, like the old machine, suppose your vCenter installation, first vCenter installation was unsuccessful, suppose, right? So that machine will be still there when you're reinstalling again from here and redeploying again. So before doing that, you can actually connect to the A6i1 and delete the old machine only in case your first vCenter installation is unsuccessful or there's a big error and there's no way going forward. Then you have to delete that machine because it's taking some space there. But if you suppose you forgot to delete this machine and you're doing a new deployment, as long as the name and IP is different, so yeah, it will still install. The new vCenter installation will still go ahead and install on the same hypervisor as long as the name and IP are different. Otherwise, you can always delete the first machine as well, because it does create a machine for vCenter here, and the machine stays there even if the installation didn't succeed for vCenter, the VCSA machine, right? So that's just a few things. 87%. So anyone already done with stage 3 or? And so Shahab, Noordin, your machines are going ahead or? Okay, 91%. Shahab says, that's good, man. And stuck at 97%. Okay, Stephen, nice. No, Stephen, on the second installation or first stage 2 or stage 1? And Noordin, 75% on stage 2. Okay, cool. Stage 1, okay. Mariam is on, the picture was shared 97% as well. Hey, I was stuck there for a long time as well, but it went through. Mine is on stage 1, 91%, Samuel says. Okay, so yeah, it was taking long time on 97%, and I guess 91%. But as some of us are going ahead and our installation will stop, hopefully everything goes well and is successful. When it stops, then yeah, the rest of you will get more underlying compute power, which is CPU and RAM. Okay, Meharif says 99% for stage 1, I guess, or stage 2. I'm on 91% stage 2. Okay, stage 1, 97%, good. Oh, that's Osanali. So 99% Meharif, stage 1. So I think you guys are moving ahead as well. That's very good. Hopefully you've seen, okay. No, is it okay? All right, congrats to Shahab, and he made it. And he's the chief guest today, and the whole audience have stood up and yeah. Okay. Anyway, so yeah, so Shahab is the first one, and finish line, and yeah. So who's the next one? Right. So Shahab, do not close that. Do not close that. Do not click the close button. Keep it there. Okay, great. Okay, so 97%. And then keep moving the mouse. So one done, another one hopefully is done. Okay. So sometimes it stays on one. All right. right, I'm done as well. So audience stands up again. Okay, so yeah, so now thank God. Woo. Okay, thank you, thank you, thank you. All right, so now this screen we really need a screenshot of. So that would be your screenshot 2. vCenter deployment successful is the name of this screenshot. So hopefully every one of us will have this screenshot with obviously your name showing in the machine. Actually, it's going to show here as well. So I'm going to take a screenshot number 2 here, which is vCenter deployment successful. So I'm going to take a screenshot here. I'm sure others will have the same experience in deploying the vCenter. Okay. Okay. So screen shot 2. vCenter deployed successfully. It's a beast, so obviously it's taking time. Okay, since I do need to record all this, and we kind of have to move on as well because it's all recorded, so you can always catch up. But we need to cover more stuff here, right? Okay, I'll just quickly take screenshot of the screenshot and put it in Teams chat and WhatsApp chat. Screenshot 2. Okay, so now guys, so first thing is this this URL, right? So we have to save it in our browser. So I'm going to click on this URL and I need to try to successfully log into the vCenter for the first time. Okay, so now I'm going to click this URL and it opens in the browser. You can see the URL here. And I just go advanced and proceed, as we know. Proceed. So it looks like this. It has launched vSphere client HTML5. So before it used to be Java-based client, which means that you had to install a separate software, which was the client software, and you had to install Java as well separately. So the client software, when it used to install, then we first had to log into the client and then log into the vCenter through that client. Now it's a browser-based client. So what is client? Client just simply means that from the browser, you can connect to the vCenter. You log into the vCenter through browser, and then from vCenter, you manage the whole environment, right? So client just simply helps you log in to the vCenter itself. So through vCenter, you can manage the whole VMware environment. If I go back here, so yep, it's a browser-based client, which is okay. So I'm going to click this button, launch vSphere client HTML5. As soon as see this UI, small UI here, this is the actual URL that lets us log inside the vCenter. Nima says SSH access is disabled for second stage. Enable it. Go ahead and enable it, right? So guys, here you have to make sure that you log in from the proper credentials into the vCenter, and the credentials are administrator. Remember that there was a default username there, administrator, administrator at, and remember the domain name that we gave, vsphere.local. So onwards, this will be our username always to log in to the vCenter. I mean, later we can create more users inside the vCenter. And once we connect the vCenter to Active Directory, Microsoft Active Directory, then even Microsoft users can log in to the vCenter as well. So right now, that's the default username to log into the vCenter application. And the class password, small c, okay, let's get going. So we are now trying to log into the vCenter. And as easy as the first time we are logging into the vCenter, and it looks like this. So you can see the whole URL up there, and you notice that small lowercase u and lowercase I user interface UI, lowercase UI. So this from here up till this, if you type, so then you will be able to connect to the vCenter, provided that the vCenter appliance, this virtual machine is on. If it is on, yes, you can connect through any browser within the same network. From any browser with the correct URL, you can connect to this vCenter appliance, right? So according to the diagram, I am connected through Google Chrome to inside this virtual machine, and inside this is the vCenter that I'm logged into right now, inside the virtual machine, which is living inside this hypervisor. And over the network, we are connecting, we have logged inside this vCenter application. Okay, so this is how it looks like here, the vCenter application. There's vCenter client written here. This is the vCenter name. There's menu here, right? And menu, home, shortcuts. Major sections here are hosts and clusters, which is this icon, right? And then there is VMs and templates, which is this icon. So all the virtual machines and templates could be seen here. When we say host and cluster, so all the hosts, and later we're going to be creating clusters. So all the hosts and clusters can be seen here. We have 1, 2, 3 hosts, right? So we can add, we're going to be adding actually ESXi 2 and 3 only here. So, but all the hosts that you add here will be showing here. So you have to go to this section to see the hosts or hypervisors. Then there's storage, and storage will show all the LUNs and the local storage as well, all the data stores. So that's the storage section. And then there's a networking. So this is this icon here. And networking obviously will show the virtual standard switches of the hosts or hypervisors, and distributed switch later, network cards, anything related to networking. Content libraries is just like a file server, and you can upload ISO images here. But content library gets created in a data store or an outside share as well. So you can save here templates or ISO images of Windows 11, Windows 22, 2019, right? Workload management, all the workload that is going on, management regarding that. We're going to be talking about all this. Global inventory list, how many virtual machines you have, how many hosts you have. So all that inventory list. Policies and profiles. So what are the VMware environment-wide policies regarding storage, security, networking, and profiles is just the configuration of the hypervisor. Suppose what you want to, what configurations you have done in ESXi 3 or 2 or 1. So all those configurations, any one of the configurations you can save here. Auto deploy is over the network. So suppose there are, so we have 3 hypervisors here, right? ESXi 2 and 3. Suppose there are 20 or 50 more physical servers were purchased by your company, and the company says, or the boss says that, hey, install hypervisor here in all 20 hosts, 20 physical servers. So either you go one by one and install, connect the USB, bootable USB with hypervisor inside, and you boot from that USB, and then the hypervisor gets installed. Either you do that, or you can go for auto deploy setup, where over the network you can deploy uh, ESXi hypervisor. But for that, obviously, um, all physical servers nowadays, and even way before, they have network card which is PXE compatible, pre-boot execution environment, PXE. PXE boot compatible network cards are all there. What that means is, when you purchase a new physical server, right? You connect it to the power, you turn it on, and as it's empty, right? You turn it on. So the network card is programmed to search for the DHCP inside this network. And it's looking for DHCP, where is DHCP, where is DHCP, all the network cards of empty physical machines, because they are PXE boot compatible, right? Pre-boot execution environment. So they search for DHCP, and DHCP is here. So DHCP provides them the IP, and once they get the IP, the empty machine gets an IP. So that empty machine is available over the network, so anyone could deploy a hypervisor on it, right? Anyone, or the auto deploy functionality of vCenter can deploy hypervisors on these physical servers over the network. So that's excuse me. So that's the auto deploy, right? Hybrid cloud services, if you want to connect this vCenter to the cloud services, obviously you must have license of Azure, AWS, Google Cloud, if and your environment should be connected to the internet, especially this machine. And then developer center, yeah, for any kind of code development. Administration of the whole vCenter, licenses and security certificates, and all the other things you want to administer. Tasks, events, tags and custom attributes, lifecycle manager for updates, uh, and when you want to auto delete something, retention policies, so all that. So this whole menu offers a glimpse into some of the sections and some of the features, right? Otherwise, there are much more features when we create clusters later. And within cluster, you will get so many more features, advanced features, right? Like FT, vMotion even we will be installing soon. So here, the vCenter got deployed. I mean, yeah. So the thing is, that was a big challenge because, and you can see you can actually see it's a big challenge, the way it is crawling ahead. So this is kind of an intro to the vCenter. Now, according to the diagram, this machine should or must stay with 14 GB RAM. And this machine is the VIP machine. Obviously, this has the most important virtual machine, which has the vCenter application, and the whole course revolves around the vCenter, right? All the features of the vCenter. Now, there are a few things that we need to know, and those few things are, or tips we can say, or points we can say is, so installation of the vCenter. Once the vCenter deployment is complete, then click the URL and log in to the vCenter. Okay, that is done as well. Now, this, so the hypervisor of the vCenter must always have 14 GB RAM, in our case. Otherwise, in production environment, real environment, you will have like obviously 64 or 128 GB or 256 GB RAM, obviously, right? But in our case, do not reduce it to that. And if we had to restart ESXi01 hypervisor, which contains the VCSA VM, right? So after restart of the host is done, then connect to ESXi01 and manually start the VCSA. Also, VCSA services will take a lot of time to fully start. So if you had to shut down or restart ESXi1, then you have to manually connect. When it is fully started, then you manually connect to ESXi1, go to the virtual machine, VCSA, manually start it as well. That machine is heavy, right? So that machine will take a lot of time to start. So don't panic. I mean, to fully start, maybe 10 to 15, sometimes 20 plus minutes just to start, and that's frustrating. But we give less RAM, so obviously it's going to take time. The beast is going to take time to start, right? So that you should remember always. That's going to take time. Now the next major steps are add ESXi02 03 hypervisors to the vCenter. So we need to introduce vCenter to hypervisors, because through vCenter we're going to manage all hypervisors and virtual machines inside the hypervisors, security, storage, networking, everything about that, right? So we need to add the hypervisors. Oh, even before that, create two data centers inside the vCenter. So I'm going to show you what are data centers called Tor DC and NYDC. We will imagine that we have two branches, one in Toronto, one in New York. So we're going to create two data centers, add ESXi2 to Tor DC and 03 to NYDC. We're pretending that one hypervisor is in Toronto branch and the other hypervisor is in New York branch. Oh, vSphere.local invalid domain. So Stephen, make sure that the spellings, there is no space, and it's exactly as Nuruddin has typed there in the chat, vSphere.local. And there should be no spaces, then it will not say invalid. Okay, so here add ESXi02. Yeah, so once we create two data centers, then we add the hypervisors to the data centers. Okay, create an empty VM inside the ESXi02 hypervisor. So we're going to check all the configurations or of the vCenter, how to create a virtual machine inside a vCenter, and where to put that virtual machine in terms of storage, how to connect to the network card. Then we're going to go for some, we're going to start from some features, which are explore the features, and those features would be vApp, resource pools, VM management, and vMotion, standard, switch, and then view management, then no, first standard switch, then vMotion. And then distributed switch, and then we go for finally the cluster and all the services and disaster recovery, high availability, business continuity features in the cluster. So these are the upcoming things. So guys, yeah, that is the major milestone that we have reached, and that's a big congrats. So those who are still trying to do that, you can I'll try to put the video there by tomorrow or midnight, not midnight, but tomorrow. And if it's the video for today is not there, it's the most important video. Today's video is most important because it's a vCenter deployment, right? And if it's not there, just put it on WhatsApp, hey, teach, where's the video? And just follow the video and deploy, make sure that it's deployed. So these would be the steps. In next class, we're going to be going for configuration of the vCenter, understanding each and every area of the section of the vCenter, and then so many smaller features, and then all very important features of the vCenter. Okay, so that's kind of it. Please upload your 2 screenshots where I did not even create that. So let me create that on the other side. The folder for today, which is week 6. I'll just quickly go for that. Week 6 folder is today is 17. So check in the Blackboard if you can see week 6, and then the assignment create folder on the other screen. I'm doing that. Assignment due in as soon as possible. 6 attendance, 6 marks. Save. So check if you can see the assignment. Please upload. Okay, so if you may confirm, are you able to see the folder in Blackboard? All right, cool. Okay, guys, have a nice dinner and have a nice night. And I'm dropping that. Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Hey, thank you. Bye-bye.
Nice
Thank
one.
you.
Everyone.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye. Oh,
Stefan?
Yeah, you won.
Yeah, sir.
You want to stay here?
I wanted to talk to you just after class, if I may.